Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another chapter of wealth management. We'd like to welcome you. If it's your first time, welcome to the Elevate Together community, where like-minded people come together to share knowledge, wisdom, and just some of their experiences in life that have helped us get to a higher level of performance and success. And we like to meet on a regular basis to deposit knowledge and let you guys know what our experiences have been and how we've created success in our lives, personal, professional, and all that great stuff. So the topic that I've been covering, my name is Paula Corday. I'm the motivational money maven. And the topic that I've been assisting with has been in the area of finances. We've been talking about financial literacy. So far, we've covered starting points. We've covered debt. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it neither? And if you missed those chapters, I would encourage you to go back and listen to some of our guest speakers, share some of their thoughts around that, and see if that resonates with you. Or if you need additional information, feel free to reach out. I'd love to give you a one-on-one consult that you can ask personal questions about, your situation and help you figure things out. So today we're going to be talking about, I like to call it the alphabet soup, because it is basically all of the acronyms that we have. And we're going to be having a guest speaker coming up within the next week or so to talk about how you get started with all of these. So you may or may not be familiar with the series of numbers and letters that are attached to some of the savings programs that are offered by industries. It could be through your workplace, it could be through the bank, it could be through different types of setups that you're going to hear things such as IRA, Roth IRA. For some of you, it's going to be a 457. For some of you, it'll be a 403B. You could have a 401k. Some of you might also hear terms such as whole life insurance, term insurance, IULs, VULs. What does all of that mean anyway? So we're going to get to that in just a second. All those vehicles are our next step that is going to bridge the gap between where we started and where we're going. The starting point is just opening up that conversation and saying, hey, is it time to start talking about your finances? Is it time to take responsibility and take action to better manage the finances that are entrusted to you at the moment? With, large amounts of money also comes large amounts of responsibility. So the whole topic that we're covering really has to do with your ability to structure your finances in a way that you responsibly know what comes in, what goes out, and how that money is being, what the purpose of that money is in your life. So we've talked about debt, we've talked about saving, and as you begin to save money, I also want you to think of this. We had Gabriela Rivas on last week, and one of the things that she said was money does not like to be a prisoner, meaning that there should be a flow of your money. So as you begin to save it with a purpose, for a purpose, but also have the idea of investing your money and having it grow. So the secret to unraveling or untangling this alphabet soup is knowing, which way do I go? What's for me? Is it a 403B? Is it a 457? Do I go a 401k? Is an IRA better? So we're going to have somebody that's going to come in and talk to you guys on how to get started on those. But the purpose of today is giving you a little bit of knowledge. Your deposit of knowledge this week is knowing where these codes belong and how to use them. We can go into the history of it, but call me and I'd love to talk to you about how these programs started and why. Ultimately, they lead you down a path of financial liberty because they're going to give you the ability to save money, put it aside, and create wealth along with what you're creating right now in your financial household. So let's start off with a 401k. 401k, all these codes are based on the industry that is supporting the program. So if you work for a company that has a large number of employees, Macy's, Home Depot, Shell, or you have a location where your employer is sponsoring your plan, it is very likely that you have a 401k plan. Depending on the number of employees, the employer may opt to sponsor a plan or not. Generally, they will. One of the biggest things for a 401k is that the institution that sponsors it or sets it up generally will also offer a bonus to go with it. So they'll give you a certain percent. They may match 1, 2, 3, sometimes up to 10% of what you're putting away, meaning that you put in money and they'll put in money as well as a bonus or an incentive for you to save this money. Now, part of what I want to make clear is that these accounts are set up with lots of really cool features, yet they're not an immediate savings account. You're not able to put money into these vehicles and then go take money out next week or next month. The reason that you're setting these up, it's a long-term commitment towards your retirement. So they're going to give you some neat features such as, taking money out in case of an emergency, allowing this money to grow, giving you some interest rates that will help you increase what you've put in. However, the exchange is that you're going to let it sit there for a determined amount of time, and it's not an immediate savings account. This is long-term savings. So you get to choose the type of investment based on your investment style, whether you're very conservative or you're willing to take risks. Those risks come with inherent education that I believe that you should have based on time horizon and your overall goal. Okay, let me go back just a second. So part of my job is I am a retirement specialist. What that means is that I get to help you map out your retirement plan from where you are today to where you want to be. Meaning that we look at your end goal. What is the destination? What is your desired location and lifestyle that you want by the time you get to retirement? I will tell you, like we talked about earlier in another series, every single one of us will at some point be eligible for retirement based on our age. One of the factors we want to look at is, are we retiring because our body is unable to function and we can no longer work? Or are we retiring to begin a next phase in life, a next stage in life, which allows us to do things that we've dreamt about, traveling, investing, taking a break, going on vacation. Those are the things that we map out together. We look at strategies that are very specific of what do I need in order to get to my first stop and then all the way through retirement. Because most people spend more time planning a vacation than they do their retirement. So these vehicles are part of the key in determining those pit stops and what you're able to create along the way. All right. So 401k, that's going to be through employers that have a large number or a number of employees that they're able to sponsor through that. 403b is generally set up for churches, nonprofits, and government employees or school organizations. So if you're an educator and you work in the schools, or you work for the post office, or you work for the city, or you work for a church, you're able to set up a 403b plan that's being sponsored by that institution. Again, your options in how you set it up will be determined by the programs that are available through your sponsoring plan. A 457 is for municipalities and government employees. So also if you work for the city and you're a government employee, you can get either one. Educators also qualify for this. So there's pros and cons, or I would say considerations for picking a 403b versus a 457. Our next one is an IRA, individual retirement account. That's what it stands for. So individual, meaning that you as an individual, as long as you're employed and you're suitable to save, you're able to sponsor your own plan. You don't have to go through an administrator. You don't have to get paperwork signed and approved to put in funds or take out funds or make any transactions, because as an individual owner of this account, you're saying, guys, I'm going to take responsibility and I want to save this money. As long as you're employed and you're suitable to save, you're able to put this money away in an investment account. And what I mean by suitable, there is a suitability process where they will ask you the checks and balances as far as how much money do you make, how much money do you spend, and how much money do you have that's discretionary income that would allow you to save, whether you're saving $100 a month or $1,000 a month. We want to look at that window, and the companies that are, legitimately looking out for your interest will say, hey, listen, if you save $100 a month, no problem, it's within your budget. Or they may look at it and say, based on the numbers that we're seeing, if you were to save $100 a month every month for the rest of the year, you're not going to be able to pay your rent or fill up your fridge based on the numbers that you're giving us. So they would consider you not suitable at that moment, meaning that you may need a little bit of help getting to a higher platform as far as your debt to income ratio, or taking care of some of your personal financial needs prior to saving. So this is why it's important to seek counsel with creating budgets and carving out money that's important to determine, hey, listen, have I elevated to a level where I can now start investing and saving into my future? Or do I focus on my here and now so that I can have a more stable foundation today in order to move forward to tomorrow? So those are some of the tools that you can use. The acronyms and the numbers can be a little bit confusing of like, do I go IRA? Do I go Roth IRA? Roth, all that means is that you're paying your taxes today, okay? A Roth IRA or a Roth 403B, Roth 457, the Roth indicates that you're electing to pay your taxes up front. One of the benefits of the traditional IRA is that you don't have to pay taxes until you begin to take that money out, whether you take it in small distributions or you take it out in one lump sum. At that time, you pay your taxes. And that could be 10, 15, 20 years later down the line. So there are some benefits to that. However, there are also benefits to paying your taxes now, and you can determine that with your financial strategist and determine which strategy is best for you at the moment that you begin that plan. Now, some of the other tools that are used in order to protect your family and your finances also include whole life insurance, IULs, VULs, term life insurance, and all kinds of other stuff that goes with the life insurance. It's a permanent versus a temporary life insurance. So we'll talk about temporary real quick. Temporary life insurance will give you coverage for a certain amount of time, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. However, you're renting it. Once that term is over, then you have to renew it if you want it again. You're counting on the fact that somewhere within that window, you may pass away or something may happen, so you have that coverage. The life insurance company is counting on the fact that you'll be totally fine, but you have it just in case. So it's similar to the insurance that we get in our car for our cars or vehicles. If nothing happens, then that's it. I mean, you paid for the premiums just in case of an emergency or in case of an accident. And then you have those renewal terms that come up. So you are able to extend it further than a year, unlike auto insurance. This insurance will cover you again 10, 15, 20 years. However, you have to determine price point and also the value that you want to bring. If you're okay renting it, that's a great starting point. However, you want to upgrade, then we look at some of the other programs, which would be permanent life insurance. Many of you may have heard of whole life or IULs. An IUL is an indexed universal life, or a VUL, which is a variable universal life. And the difference is just how they are, I totally lost my train of thought. How they're allocated, how they're invested, and the risk that you're taking in part of the growth of the money. Now, I will say with these vehicles, it is a true commitment because you are making a commitment to take care of yourself and your family. And I am a big fan of these plans as long as you set them up properly. It's like getting a membership to the gym and saying, hey, listen, we're letting you into one of the most exclusive gyms available on the planet. However, if you pay minimum fees for them just to set up the structure, you only get a pass to the lobby. You're not allowed to go in and use the equipment. You cannot use the spa, the sauna, the trainers, or the juice bar. However, if you plan properly and you want to enjoy all of the features that are available, you have full access. So if you have one of these plans and you don't know how it works, please give me a call and I will walk you through what features you have and what features are available that you may not have or that you can add to your current plan. Biggest thing to know about permanent life insurance is that you have options out there. And my favorite, I would say, is living benefits. In the event that you're unable to perform 2 out of 6 daily activities, you're able to take funds from that account to pay for your medical needs or financial needs during the time that you're ill. That is huge. And I do have a story about that. However, I will share that next time when we talk a little bit more specifically about IULs. Things that you need to know. Whole life. If you have a whole life insurance, congratulations. I'm not saying it's a bad plan. Many whole life plans are fantastic and offer security and stability. The thing you want to know about whole life insurance is just like the name in it says, you will be paying your premiums your whole life. Whether you pass away at 65 or 165, your premiums will continue to be paid out. The difference between that and an IUL you can actually determine a stopping point of contribution. So say that you want to contribute until you're age 65, 67, 70, and say, guys, what do I get if I contribute until this age? After that, you get no more premiums. However, you as a consumer get coverage for the remainder of your life, whether you live to 80, 90, or 120. You'll continue to have that. And so you want to look at what features are available. There are some phenomenal plans out there that are going to offer you great rate of return, that are going to offer you great coverage. I look at living benefits, and I also look at the overall tools that they're using in order to have these plans available to you, because it can be life-changing and life-saving for those that have the plan. So the structure is important, being able to have the right guidance and putting all of your knowledge to work. Part of what I want you to know is with some of these vehicles, it can also yield tax-free money at the time of retirement. So it is not a retirement vehicle within itself. However, at the age of retirement, you can take out money that is already tax-free because of the way that you set it up at the beginning. Okay, any questions? Okay, perfect. So that's more of a share than a statement. So, or a statement than a question. Basically, what we want to look at is what is right for you, what is going to contribute. And, many times I could ask, well, what's better, an IRA or a 401k, a 403b or a 457? My honest answer to you guys is it depends. It really depends on your circumstance. It depends on multiple factors. You want to consider your time horizon. You want to consider your risk factors. You want to consider the amount of money that you can put in. And you really want to look at your financial profile. If you're in a situation where you're not suitable, or if putting $100 a month away is going to make the difference between you paying your rent or not paying your rent, you being able to put gas in your car or not, that's not our starting point. I will guide you and allow you to ask questions about the vehicles themselves, yet our starting point is going to be a little bit different. However, if you're in a financial situation where you feel confident and solid that you have enough of a cushion of a discretionary income, then we're going to talk about strategies. Depending on your entry level of where you want to get started, you want to look at what vehicles are going to match the goals and the outcome on the other side. So, for example, I usually joke, it's the difference between going to Florida or going to Fiji or going to France. And no offense to Florida, because they're fantastic. However, if you're taking a vacation of a lifetime, would it make sense to plan appropriately? Because Florida can be a stopping point. However, your ultimate destination is still waiting on the other side of the world. So this is strategically plotting out your stops and where you're going. So what we want to make sure is that you have the budget, you have the knowledge, and you have the depth of saying, okay, what I have will not only get me there, it will give me an experience of a lifetime. So that's the power in properly planning for retirement, but also properly planning financially for anything that you have going on. It's a liberty package that gives you the ability to make choices that people that don't have money are unable to make. We've been talking about how money is a tool that we leverage to create experiences, and we leverage it to do day-to-day activities that otherwise would be a little bit more difficult, or we would become more creative. You know, how many times have we gone shopping and said, well, I'm going to have to wait till next paycheck or the next couple paychecks before I'm able to afford that, right? Or you're wanting to have an experience, either go on vacation with your friends or create an experience where you're able to go and have fun adventures and having the all-inclusive package. And then you politely sit yourself back down and say, well, I'm not able to afford that at the moment, so I'm going to have to play in something different. So what these tools do is they are available to you as a shifting point, as a start to a new chapter, as an ability to say, this is the last time that I'm ever going to feel this way, unable to do XYZ because of lack of funds. These are your tools that are your starting point that will allow you to begin a discipline, to actively begin new habits so that you can begin to change those money patterns that have ruled you up to right now. So we're going to be talking a little bit more in depth individually about the plans that are available. What do they mean? How do you start? How can they impact you on a regular basis? And then I'm also going to have a guest speaker that's going to be joining us to talk about some of the biggest pitfalls that she sees as far as entrepreneurs. When we go into business for ourselves, yet not by ourselves, we don't always share the pitfalls. We tend to share the glory and the value and the wonderful things. And I'm not saying that that's not important. However, we also have to give ourselves the tools and the knowledge of, how do I save for my taxes? How do I set money aside to invest? How do I stretch this money so that it could become truly legacy money and not just the money that's paying for the additional groceries? Now, don't get me wrong, that extra money is fantastic because now you know you can upgrade to the things that you wanted to buy for your household. But I want you to dream a little bit bigger. We're in that stage where we're bringing this knowledge and sharing it with you so that you can create new systems and new habits. Take what works for you, what resonates, and then seek counsel. When we can get opinions a dime a dozen. However, we want to look at people that are in the field, that are working with this, that are having the opportunity to grow money at a different level. And that's what we want to bring together collectively as a community. How do we help each other out? How do we find out what are some of the biggest pitfalls? We're going to be hearing from one of my favorite bookkeepers that talks about some of the biggest pitfalls that she sees with entrepreneurs. And it's not a judgment, it's a tool for us to keep an eye out, be aware of what's happening and say, okay, I need to do A, B, and C in order to stay in track and in my lane. Versus switching lanes, going back and forth. I would rather pay somebody to keep track of my receipts and keep track of my business, because that's not my strength. I fully admit that I need help, and I'm able to reach out to her and be vulnerable and say, hey, listen, this is my weak point. Can we create a power partnership so that you can keep me in check? And I know at the end of the year, I'm good. So some of you might say, hey, listen, I don't make as much money to be able to afford a bookkeeper. The beautiful thing about this particular guest speaker that we're going to have is that she will give you a free consult and give you homework to get on track, to make money, to be able to afford her. So again, it's about creating those habits. So today was mainly about figuring out all the tangles of all these numbers and letters that we hear. Well, do a 401k. No, do an IRA, do Roth, do traditional. What does all that mean? We get so stuck and spun into which one's right for me. It's a good time to inspire yourself, take a deep breath and say, okay, number one, what is my industry? Do I work for a company? Am I an entrepreneur? Do I work for the government? How am I set up? And do I qualify for multiple plans? Once we figure that out, then we want to start your investment point. Look at your budget. Are you making enough money to save for your bills, to pay for your mortgage, to pay for your groceries? And do you have a little bit of a cushion? Whether you start at $100 a month or $1,000 a month, we want to look at that suitable piece. Can you afford to put that money away? I wanted to kind of give you a little poke on the ribs and like just kind of make you realize you're doing something different, but I don't want it to be the weight of the world where you feel like you have an elephant sitting on your chest and going, oh my gosh, if I save that, I'm toast. I'm not going to be able to pay for my next whatever it is. So we really want to start at that point. Many advisors are going to tell you, hey, listen, save 6 to 9 months worth of expenses. You can do that. However, I would say let's get a strategy in place that works for you. Okay. Have some money that's liquid money in case of an emergency. You're able to take it out, use it, and then put it back. And then we're going to talk about strategies of what can you do long term. So whether you're saving $100 a month, or if today you're starting at $10 a month, there's no judgment. Start something. If $10 is all you can afford to pay, by the end of the year, you'll be proud of what you put away. Start at 10, dial it up a couple dollars as you're able to, and then create that habit of saying, I'm putting this money away for me and my family into a what if fund. I don't call it an emergency fund because emergencies tend to show up when you commit your money to an emergency fund. However, the what if fund is also a fun fund that allows you to use it. What if you want a new purse? What if you want to go on vacation? What if your refrigerator decided it's going to retire and you need a new one? What if one of your tires went out and it needs to be replaced? The what if gives you a little bit of flexibility of how you're committing your money to a particular fund that really doesn't have any strings attached to emergencies or anything else. I hope that makes sense. So basically, the sharing this knowledge is for you guys to make a decision as to where do you want to go next. We've talked about debt. We've talked about money. Let's talk about some of these vehicles a little bit more in depth. So like I said, we're going to have a super awesome, amazing speaker come and talk to us about these particular vehicles. And then we're going to have another individual come and talk to us about life insurance. What does it mean as a tool? Why is it important to have it? Why do we as individuals have pet insurance, homeowners insurance, car insurance, even cell phone insurance, and yet we don't have insurance on ourselves? Where did that idea just kind of escape, or why are we not considering that? If I told you, name the top 5 or 10 or 30 most important things in your life, how long would it take you to make it onto your own list? So the consideration is, if you are not first on your list, why? What is it that's holding you back from being a priority in your life? So this wealth management series that we're doing is composed of multiple topics. Wealth is not just equal to finances. Wealth is not just equal to money. We're talking about wealth building that is that interlaced, layered thought pattern. It's about mindset, that wealth includes your financial health, your physical health, your spiritual health, and your emotional health. So follow the series that Elevate Together has been putting together to talk about these topics to enhance things in your life and take the information that's important for you in order to prioritize your health, your finances, your spiritual and emotional well-being, so that you can rise to a different level and consider the things that you need to stop doing, the things that are working for you that you can continue doing, and things that you can start doing in order to change it. So start, stop, and continue would be the considerations of how do you change the patterns? How do you change the mindset around what you're wanting to achieve? So I'm wishing you guys a fantastic rest of your week. We will see you next week with another deposit of knowledge to help you understand your finances a little bit better. If you need help and you have specific questions, feel free to reach out to me and let me know how I can be of support and answer those questions. And let's get to the next level. I'll see you guys at the top and have a fantastic week.
Thanks,
Thank you
Paula.
so much, Paula. Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. See you guys
You're
next
amazing.
time.
Thank you so much. Love you. Bye-bye.
Love you too.